Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit.
Glory be to God. Certainly, this was a righteous man.
Jesus' death by crucifixion is attested to in the Gospels and at least 5 non-Christian sources, including hostile ones. Alexander Methrel, MD, PhD, board certified in diagnosis by the American Board of Radiology and a consultant to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, concludes from the historical record that Jesus was beaten severely and in hypovolemic shock from the lacerations made by the bone and metal tines of a Roman whip. It is in this weakened condition that he was nailed to the cross and suspended in a position where he could not breathe unless he pulled himself up by his pierced wrists. The doctor reveals that crucifixion is essentially an agonizingly slow death by asphyxiation. This was also the conclusion of the 3 expert medical researchers who published in the March 21, 1986 issue of the Journal of American Medical Association who studied the Roman procedures. Jesus' compromised condition prior to the crucifixion makes his survival exceedingly improbable. Furthermore, the Romans were experts at stopping death by crucifixion, and the eyewitness John reveals that they verified Jesus' death by stabbing a spear into his side, which subsequently leaked blood and water. Gospel of John, chapter 19, verse 34 reads, "But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and at once there came out blood and water." Now, we don't have to take John's word for it because the Roman author Quintilian corroborates that this procedure was often used to validate the death of crucifixion victims. While I doubt John intended to impart expert medical knowledge, this separation of blood and water speaks to Jesus being dead. The medical professionals in the JAMA report state that this indicates the right side of the heart was pierced, rupturing the sac, called the pericardium, and the muscle. No one lives through that. It is well attested in the historical record as well. In addition to the Gospels, Jesus' death by crucifixion is reported in at least 5 secular sources, including Josephus, Tacitus, Lucian, Mara bar Serapion, and a hostile source being the Jewish Talmud. On the eve of the Passover, Yeshua was hanged. Scientific and historical evidence clearly leads to the conclusion that Jesus indeed died on the cross. Just not believable that Jesus, having been scourged and crucified, pushed the heavy stone aside and appeared to his disciples in a bloody, pathetic state, and then convinced them that he was the Alpha and the Omega, the risen Lord of all creation. They would have taken him to a doctor, not fallen on their knees in worship. Furthermore, the apparent death theory does not account for Saul of Tarsus' dramatic reversal of worldview from persecutor to evangelist. He claimed to witness a glorious appearance of the risen Jesus. A swooned Jesus just would not appear glorious. Under the weight of the evidence, the swoon theory is dead, with no hopes of resurrection.